keeping you ahead of the storm. 96.3 FM, 1370 AM, The Source.
Today will be partly sunny with a high of 75 to 79. Clear skies tonight, low 56 to 63. Then Thursday and Friday both will be mostly sunny and pleasant. High on Thursday, 78 to 81. High on Friday, 80 to 83. Sunny to partly cloudy skies on Saturday, high 81 to 86. From the Florida Weather Center, I'm Holly Holdren.
The Ocala Golf Club, one of Ocala's premier golf courses, from its pristine 18-hole course layout to its amazing pro shop. Jason Linhart and the staff at Ocala Golf offer everything that you need for your golf outing. That's the Ocala Golf Club. Experience country club style golf at municipal prices. You won't go wrong with the Ocala Golf Club. Call them for a tee time today, 352-401-6917.
This is Ocala Talks with Tom Schmidt, bringing stories that are important to our community in and around Ocala. Plus, of course, a splash of sports as well. Now, here's your host, Tom.
Welcome back to Ocala Talks. On a Wednesday, it's Hump Day, hour number 3 of Ocala Talks. So we get started here on a beautiful, sunny, warming day in the Brick City, beautiful Ocala, Florida. I am Tom Schmitz, your host. And I saw this story, and it's out of Texas, and I know it doesn't concern Ocala, but it does in a way, because it's a lawsuit that is been filed against the Texas Attorney General. It's been filed by Twitter. And they filed the lawsuit against Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton. They claim that he's used his office to punish them for removing President Donald Trump's Twitter account following the riot at the U.S. Capitol. Paxton, days after the cancellation of Donald Trump's account, he announced an investigation into Twitter and the 4 other major tech companies for what he called the seemingly coordinated deplatforming of the president. He then used court orders to get companies a variety of records related to their content moderation policy, troves of internal communications from Twitter. Well, Twitter responded this week with a federal lawsuit alleging Paxton is seeking to punish it for taking Trump's account offline. But here's what they say is the reason why they filed the lawsuit. Twitter says that the government of Texas cannot prosecute them or retaliate against them because they made an editorial decision which he disagrees with, and their decision is protected by free speech. So let me get this right. Twitter denies President Trump free speech, which they can. They're a privately owned company, or they're publicly owned company, but they don't, they're not a government entity. And I've said numerous times, free speech is only that the government can't prosecute you for something you say about them. But Twitter denying President Trump his free speech is now saying by them doing that, if Texas prosecutes them or tries to come after them, they're denying Twitter their free speech right to deny President Trump his free speech. That's what they're saying. Twitter said in their lawsuit that that Paxton is seeking to punish Twitter for taking Trump's account offline, a decision the social media company says is protected free speech under the ambit of the First Amendment, and in essence, it should halt Paxton's investigation. So they're going to do this in every state? Because there are crackdowns on tech companies everywhere in the U.S. Antitrust lawsuits, anti-monopoly regulations, internet privacy laws, the way that Facebook, Twitter, and platforms like that moderate their sites, who they deem to be okay, who they deem to be not okay. Because right now, there are pedophile Facebook pages. There are Facebook pages for terrorism groups on Facebook. But you can get in the Facebook police can put you off of Facebook if you say something derogatory about Joe Biden. That's a true story, folks. Well, now Twitter's saying that you can't investigate us or you violate our free speech. I want to see how this plays out in the court system because, you know, if Twitter is successful with this, that gives them carte blanche to do whatever they want, to treat people however they want. Oh, we're just doing it under free speech. The court said it was okay. That's how somebody goes, well, I don't use Twitter. But if you use social media, and by the way, folks, I remember one time people said the internet was a fluke and wasn't going to last. They were wrong. I know, I talked to somebody last night. Well, Joe Martone even doesn't have Twitter. He, you know, social media is not that big a deal to him. I talked to somebody last night that's in their 70s. They're one of my regulars that come and play trivia. I said, you know, it's getting out of hand with all that. He goes, this social media stuff, it won't be around in 10 years. Huh? Social media is going nowhere. It's here to stay, just like the internet is here to stay, just like streaming, people cutting the cable box, cable wire and doing streaming. That stuff's here to stay. So there needs to be some way to make sure that they don't just have carte blanche to do whatever it is they want, and you have no rights or you have no recourse when they do it. Well, if Twitter is successful with this lawsuit, that's exactly what Twitter's going to get, carte blanche. Because when it kicks people off, they say, you can't say anything to us because that's our right under free speech. So you can deny somebody the ability to have free speech on your site, and then nobody can do anything to you about it because it violates your free speech. That's what Twitter's saying. You can't make this stuff up, folks. That's where we are right now. That's what Twitter's saying. By filing this lawsuit this week against Attorney General Ken Paxton of Texas, they're seeking to, they say that Paxton's decision to come after them was to punish them for taking President Donald Trump's account offline, a decision that Twitter says is protected free speech. So if we make a decision as a company to deny you the ability to speak freely on our platform, nobody can come after us for it because that violates our free speech. That's the screwed up rationale that these tech companies are using now. I just, look, social media is going nowhere. So we need to learn how to deal with it. And the way you deal with it is not allow the companies that control it to have carte blanche without anybody watching over them. Because then they get to make the message what they want the message to be only. And they don't give equal time and they deny free speech. And then they say, yeah, we did that, and there's nothing you can do to us about it because you would deny us free speech. That's where we're at. Good morning. You're on Ocala Talks.
Hey, Tom. It's Mark.
Hey, Mark. How are you?
Am I breaking up? Am I Lima Charlie?
You're Lima Charlie.
Okay. Excellent. So I just wanted to call and say, even though I'm a left-wing liberal union Democrat that shook John Kennedy's hand, I totally agree with you, Tom. 100%. Now, we'll just throw this back in your face, though, to consider the comparison of going into a private business and not wearing a mask, irregardless of the politics of it all. And when a store says, hey, you can't come in here without it, well, they own that property. And so as a fellow American, a fellow citizen, you're a Southerner and I'm a Yankee and all that. I think we're actually have a lot in common, like you've said before, and both patriotic people, is that we have surrendered the power of the citizen to the hands of the corporations who are calling the shots.
100%.
And even has a name, and you being educated should be telling me this, not the other way around. And I don't want to call and give a political speech, but I thought you might appreciate the fact that I do totally agree with you, and I just hope you consider that the power of the corporations are pretty much protected by your political persuasion, probably, and some by ours too. We have corporate Democrats, but mostly you guys. And I'm not saying that Republicans would even change that, but I'm not throwing that in your face as personally.
No, I understand. I understand. You're talking on party lines. And the thing is, while you're correct, the Republican, turn your radio down for me, please.
Okay, sorry about that. Yes, sir.
While you are correct, the Republican Party, more so than the Democratic Party, protects big business. I won't deny that fact. Okay, you're right about that. The fact that corporations control the election cycles anyway means that the Democrats benefit just as much from big corporations as Republicans do. And the fact that we even allow somebody like Twitter to say, we threw somebody off because we didn't like their speech, and there's nothing you can do to us about it because it's our right to our free speech. That's an ugly precedent I think Twitter's trying to set. Just on the free speech issue. That's all I'm talking about. Just on the free speech issue, to say we're denying somebody their ability to speak freely, and you can't do anything to us about it because then you would deny us our free speech, is kind of an oxymoron, if you ask me.
Yeah, I would also agree with your interpretation there, and I'm not calling the comment because I think much of it is aimed at the popularity of the last president. He had many followers, even though some were coming from Russia, which we would call Russian bots. But I'd say probably 90% of his followers were people that identified with him. And not to take the side of the corporation, but I wonder if you would be candid enough in your opinion, objective enough, Tom, to understand at this point in our country's history, with the election being decided literally at that moment, where people rush to the Capitol. And there's a part of me that can empathize with the people that rush the Capitol. But on the other hand, we can't really interfere with federal business because it really does affect either side. Now, it can be done if it's pulled off, and we can ask Robert E. Lee or Grant about those questions. But I think Lee says after the war he wished he'd never worn a uniform. And he also told Ulysses S. Grant at Appomattox, I don't really remember you from the Mexican-American War, and damned if Grant didn't admire the heck out of Robert E. Lee and respect him. And so did his men. But Lee had an affection with his soldiers because he identified with them. And Grant was a meat grinder, but they liked him from a different perspective. And he had physical courage. And your earlier comment about Americans and this fort here, Fort King, and the Union Army and the American Army, they were one and the same. And I know you didn't mean that in a slip-up. But Grant spent a lot of time working for that Union Army out west in California, which is where he did train because he was away from his family, which we all have a tendency to do when we miss our loved ones.
Yes.
But he paid for it. And I would just leave you with this, that Samuel Clemens, or known as Mark Twain, financed Grant's memoirs, and he stumbled upon a very rich wife, and not that Twain wasn't wealthy himself, but he and his brother both fought 2 battles for the Confederacy in the Civil War and then said, this is way too dangerous and stupid, let's get out of here. And they ended up ultimately living in California themselves. But I thought you might know that already. Being
I didn't know that.
You're college educated. But I'm up through the boots.
When I talk about when I last night at trivia, I was talking about this exact subject at trivia last night. I said what country's $5 bill was in Abraham Lincoln's pocket when the night he got murdered. And of course, it was the Confederate States of America. And I will anger a lot of my friends. I will anger a lot of my friends here right now when I say born and raised in the Deep South, trained in history with a master's degree. There are people that are holding on to this Confederate States of America tooth and nail. It is my heritage. It is this and that. It was 4 years, people. 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. The Simpsons have been on TV 8 times longer than the Confederacy existed. Okay? Let's just put that in perspective. Hey, Mark, thanks for the call, buddy.
Yeah, you're welcome, Tom. Have a good one, brother. Semper Fi.
That's Mark with a good call. Hi, you're on Ocala Talks with Tom Schmidt. Turn your radio down, please.
Hello, Tom.
Hey, Sonny.
We were talking about these outfits like Twitter and Facebook like that. They're too big.
Sonny, you're on all of them. You're on all of them, right,
and
Sonny?
And the government broke up AT&T.
Yeah, exactly.
And AT&T never stopped anybody's freedom of speech.
No,
just thought I'd mention it.
That's a very good point. Thanks, Sonny. AT&T never stopped anybody from talking. They want you to talk, but they got broke up as a monopoly because that's what they were. Take a break. When we come back, we'll talk to you about court. It's finally back in session in Ocala. We'll give you an update. 1370 AM, 96.3 FM. You're listening to WOCA, The Source.
First Church of Christ Scientist of Ocala is hosting a free webcast on Saturday, March 20th at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Philip Hockley, CS, will be the lecturer and discuss how divine love erases suffering from our lives. His talk will be entitled A New View of God and Its Effects on Well-Being. Register now. cstalks.org/Ocala-Hockley. Again, cstalks.org/Ocala-Hockley.
Each morning, we wake up thankful to live in a free nation with liberty and justice for all. But sometimes those liberties can be put in jeopardy, and you may have questions about what to do or who to call. Let Doc Blanchard of Blanchard, Miriam, Adele, and Kirkland help you find the answers. Attorneys at law since 1974 and located in downtown Ocala. If you have legal issues, don't go it alone. Call 352-732-7218. Blanchard, Miriam, Adele, and Kirkland, helping protect your liberties every day.
Take a look at your lawn. Is it in need of some TLC? Check with Flawless Lawns of Ocala to learn about their excellent service. Unlike others, they take the time to do the job to perfection. Call 352-286-5300 or email flawlesslawnsocala@gmail.com. Flawless Lawns serves Marion County and surrounding areas. Why have a ho-hum lawn when it could be flawless? Again, the number is 352-286-5300. Call today.
Oh, hey, Grandpa. Oh, hey, Grandpa. Hey, Grandpa.
Yes, buddy?
Can you take me fishing this weekend?
I'd love to.
Have you noticed a change in your hearing over the years? Missing the little things in life? Visit Beneficial Hearing in Ocala today. Their expert team of audiologists will make sure you never miss a moment. Call Beneficial Hearing today at 352-629-4418 or visit them online, beneficialhearing.com.
On the first and third Wednesday mornings each month at 9:05 a.m., Robert Colin with On Top of the World will be our guest as we learn all about the exciting lifestyle and new home choices available at Ocala's premier adult active community, On Top of the World. From time to time, Robert will bring guests, and you're sure to enjoy our little chats. After all, you deserve the world, and we bring it to you.
If you've not seen this week's huge ad for Bob Wine's Camellia Gardens, then check the paper or go to bobwinescamelliagardens.net for lots of doorbuster specials like this. For example, Bob has top quality red Formosa and Lantana Gold azaleas for the record-breaking low price of $2.99. How about camellias? Yes, you can still get Bob's famous heirloom camellias. They're blooming right now, not $40, $30, not even even $20, but just $12.99. And there are thousands to choose from. Remember Bob's everyday deal on shade trees? Pick out any type, any size shade tree at Bob's super low price and get a second one just like it for half price. Don't miss this year's Camellia Show Spectacular. Bring your walking shoes. This gorgeous park is open on Southeast 38th Street, Ocala till 4, Saturdays till 3, in the same blooming place for going on 70 years.
You're getting ready to move and you work hard. That's why you call Two Men in a Truck, 352-289-0666. You need pros, trained professional moving experts to do the heavy lifting for you. That's why you call Two Men in a Truck, 352-289-0666. They care about your things as much as you do, and they do it fast and right. That's why you call Two Men in a Truck, 352-289-0666. Visit twomeninatruck.com and get moving.
2 Men in a Truck.